Evan's Journey to Life. Have you ever really loved your parents? Part 1, Day 86. To read this post, it must be understood that we're walking this process and blog, Heaven's Journey to Life, multidimensionally, which means each post covers one dimension, but is interconnected into and as multi-dimensions in our process of walking the point in question of who I am, and how this I created and manifested this entire physical existence. Thus suggested to read this blog from day one, as many of the points in previous dimensions, days, and posts are always brought through into the next day's dimensions and posts, as all the dimensions interconnect, as the multidimensionality we've created and manifested as our separation, as energy and consciousness from and of life and equality and oneness. Thus, if one is faced with this post and have not yet read this blog from day one, suggest that self first start from day one, as otherwise one will have no context of many dimensions that is walked in this post that has been dealt with in detail in previous posts. We are in this post with now having the understanding of our relationship as energy to substance, as walked in the previous post, with how we have given life to energy and illusion at the sacrifice and compromise of substance, physicality, and existence as real and reality. Within this, how we have constructed and created ourselves into memories and characters from memories and characters of those that had gone before us, and thus walking why, where in fact illusion, in our beingness and substance and the physical body and this physical existence as substance manifest is the reality, and is and always has been compromised and sacrificed for the illusion as energy, mind, memories, and characters to survive and exist and maintain its life from the taking and stripping of what is real, and piecing ourselves into separation within ourselves as illusion. To walk this relationship between illusion and reality, we're going to have a look at, from childhood, our relationship to our parents and siblings, and how our relationship to our parents and siblings is and has always been designed and manifested from and of a multidimensional relationship of memories within ourselves that we created, manifested, and constructed within our minds. And so how and why we have thus never in fact really had any real substantial relationship with our parents and siblings within the entirety of who they really are. Never in fact really met and saw them within the entirety of who they are, as we'd only designed relationships and characters towards them within our mind that would serve our interest, intentions, and preferences only. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to inequality and oneness within as life, energy, and substance, the mind and the physical, from the beginning to now, seen, realized, and understood how, with me as a child, with my automated consciousness existent in the merged relationship between my beingness, my mind platform and framework, and my parents' minds and memories, were my beingness. Consisting of and existing as memories and characters, I have accumulated and manifested throughout my lives that I lived on earth, into and as my very beingness that had come to define my very nature as a being, as all the characters and personalities I physically lived out, that became a living pattern and habit within and throughout my lives, that became me, as my beingness, as the acceptance of who I am, within and as my very beingness. And thus, whatever characters and personalities within and throughout my lives I physically lived out and embodied consistently within space and time would manifest a merging of acceptance between the mind, my beingness, and the particular specific personality and character I would physically and habitually live out. And in this merging of the character and personality with the physical and so my beingness, I would within my very beingness accept the very nature of me, within my who I am as a being, equal to and one with such characters and personalities I had come to physically and habitually live out in my mind, beingness, and physical merging in relationship within and throughout my lives. My mind platform and framework that consist of and exist as the automated functioning and movement of and as consciousness, as a multitude of interdimensional and dimensional, multidimensional programs that activate the moment my beingness merge with the mind platform and framework. As substances, my beingness, relationship to energy, the interdimensional dimensional mind that give life to the mind as energy consumes substance. With this relationship between my beingness and the mind that becomes me in my physical living, as through and as the mind, I come to create my characters and personalities I will embody and manifest within my mind-physical relationship within and throughout my life on Earth. And so, my consciousness within the mind platform and framework programs in its relationship to my beingness, together with my parents' mind and memories, will be the initial system from and through which I develop and manifest the future me as characters and personalities from existent memories manifested within my beingness, mind, and parents' mind. My parents' mind and memories that initially merge as a platform within my unconscious mind of my interdimensional dimensional mind merged with my beingness. This platform consisting of and existing as primarily only memories representing characters my parents created and manifested in their mind physical living, consisting of and existing as a multitude of multidimensional memories and characters that they manifested in all dimensions within their mind, within their conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind. Memories and characters that they either fantasized about or actually lived out, all of it transferred into and as a platform within my unconscious mind that would become an entire database that my automated consciousness would use to develop, construct, and manifest my own personalized characters and personalities from. I commit myself to show how and why we have throughout our lives on Earth, life after life, only accumulated into and as our very beingness memories of characters and personalities we had physically lived out within and throughout our lives in our beingness and mind relationship and merging within this physical. And how within and as our very beingness we had come to exist as manifested and accumulated memories and characters that would come to influence and determine, direct our choices of who we are in the lives to come, from additional manifestations of memories as our very mind and our parents to be minds and memories. Where within and throughout our lives, within our relationship between our beingness, our mind, and our parents' minds and memories, within the initial merged and manifested existence of consciousness from birth, will come to determine the new evolved memories and characters will create and manifest in and from our minds, new lives, and new parents' minds and memories. However, life after life, the process remains the same, constructing and manifesting characters from memories of characters within our beingness, our parents' minds and memories, with the automated mind that facilitate this process for us as a memory and character creation machine and system. That this all that we've done and become within and throughout our lives on Earth, creating, constructing, and manifesting characters from an accumulation of multidimensional memories, that is and always has only served our own purpose and living and experience within and throughout our lives in our own minds, where within this process we develop no relationship with ourselves or others, in fact, as what control and manifest who we are within ourselves in our mind physical relationship is memories, where within and throughout our lives we're simply as our beingness of substance serving as a life force for the mind consciousness to automatically from childhood serve us our memories and characters that we'll personalize with through and as consciousness to within and throughout our lives physically live out, where the entire process of who we are within our mind physical relationship only manifest within our internal reality of the mind as memories and characters, with no equal and one relationship to ourselves, our physical body, or human beings within our world and reality from childhood, as we're always, in all ways, only preoccupied and occupied with memories. In this, I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand inequality and oneness within as life, energy, and substance, the mind and the physical from the beginning to now, how my mind framework and platform in itself exist as a memory database of programs already prepared and preordained that would initiate into and as the existence of consciousness, the moment my beingness and substance merge with it, to prepare me in itself to create, construct, manifest, and program my and its own characters and personalities that will come to occupy the mind and preoccupy me from my equality and oneness with me, the physical body, and so existence as a whole. And my beingness exist as memory, a memory database of and as characters I have come to accumulate and manifest into and as the manifested acceptance of who I am, within and as my very beingness. And my parents' memories and minds of characters exist as memory and together with my beingness, memories, and characters, with consciousness and the mind. This relationship would come to evolve into and as my personalized characters I will become, construct, and manifest within my mind-physical relationship and existence within and throughout my life. In this, I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand how and why it is that I never, in fact, from childhood, really see the reality and equality and oneness of the totality of my parents, because within the relationship with my parents, all that is existent within me, in my unconscious mind, is moments as memories of characters that have constructed in their minds that transferred into me in my inception and conception process within the womb of the female, where my parents accordingly constructed, manifested, and created their memories and characters from their beingness as memories and characters, from their parents' minds as memories and characters, through and as their merged relationship between their mind, their beingness, and their parents' minds and characters. And so, what transferred into me as my parents' mind that I used to develop my relationship within me towards them come from only moments, as memories, as characters of them, that will come to determine how I see me in relation to them, from the references as memories and characters of them I firstly used within my mind. Thus, I never in fact have an actual, real, physical, equal, and one relationship with my parents from childhood, as all I am busy doing in my mind with memories of them as characters in my unconscious mind is to create, construct, and manifest my own personalized characters that will become memories and characters I embody and physically live out. And so my relationship to my external environment, whether siblings, parents, friends, extended family, acquaintances, colleagues, classmates, I never, in fact, in any way have any form of relationship to them as a being within the totality of who they are, as they, as all people in my world, serve as a mirror that I use within my mind to construct, create, and manifest characters within me. In taking the example of the mother smiling at the child, in that moment, I, as a child, do not see the totality of who my mother is in that moment of smiling, her expression, her mind state, why she's smiling, how she's smiling, what she's experiencing, the absolute detail of who she is in that moment. Nothing of her exists in an equal and one relationship with me. All that happens in that moment is my physical mind eyes capture that moment into the interdimensional dimensional glass window pane, scan through all my parents' memories and characters as mere pieces of the totality of who they are within the platform of my unconscious mind, search for memories and characters of who and how my parents were in the past, with such memories that is accordingly used to determine who I am, what and how I am in my experience and behavior in that moment. Thus, a moment of interaction in physical reality is used to create and manifest me into characters I will come to embody and live out based on others' behaviors and responses towards me. Therefore, from childhood, all my interactions and experience and behavior towards my parents come from their past as memories of characters of who they were that is manifested in my unconscious mind as a database I use to create and me from as characters within my mind physical relationship, creating my own experience and behavior as a character incarnate from previous and past characters manifested within me and my unconscious mind of my parents. And furthermore, within that, we later in life, when and as there aren't memories within our parents' mind's memory and character database within our unconscious mind that we can use to construct, create, and manifest into our own personalized characters as we participate in physical reality, we then use the reference of our beingness from past lives, characters, and memories to manifest our experience and behavior to and towards people in our worlds. Thus, within this, how even most of our interactions as experience behavior to and towards our parents and our relationship with them as characters we become and that activate in our relationship and interaction with them has not even been really designed and manifested within any context of who they are. In actual real reality, as we've used references from past life interactions and relationships as characters we've activated to manifest characters with which we interact and participate as with our parents. I commit myself to show how and why we have never within our existence or our lives on earth had a relationship with another being, let alone ourselves, Because in having a look at the processes involved in our interactions and participations with our parents in physical reality from childhood, is that we use such interactions and participations not to develop an equal and one relationship with them in who they are as beings and really seeing and living with them in equality and oneness, but use such moments of interactions and participations to develop, construct, and manifest our own characters within the backdrop and blueprint of the parents' minds and memories of who they were, manifested within our unconscious mind within us that determine our reaction, experience, and behavior as character manifestation towards them. And within this, I commit myself to show, as we continue within this process of memory and character creation, to substantiate our minds with characters we created and manifested from memories in our beingness and parents' mind and memories in our unconscious mind. We develop and manifest eventually our own subconscious mind characters and personalities that become the living definition of who I am in this life. Where, whenever we continue participating with, for example, parents later in life, we'll use such physical reality participations, imprint and manifest such present moments within us and the glass window pane. Then, use memories of past interactions with them, with such memories containing how we experienced and behaved towards our parents in the past that is similar and the same to the present moment we just encountered, where such memories of past interactions contain our own view, perception, and experience of our parents dependent on how we experienced ourselves towards them in the memory and past encounter. Thus, within our minds, framed our parents with a particular light and picture, where we essentially characterized our parents within our minds against our existent characters and personalities, and so warp, change, and mold who they are in relationship to our characters in our minds, seeing them how we want to see them within our minds that would best serve our character and personality to be the best, better, right, and winner within the present moment interaction and participation. And so develop an complete alternate conversion of our parents within our minds according to our interest of our characters and personalities, where we're, for example, right and they're wrong. And so try and physically impress our illusion of them in our minds onto actual physical reality when in conversation and interaction with them, as we behave towards them and experience ourselves towards them in physical reality, according to how we framed and manifested them within our minds, which is not the real representation of our parents, in fact. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to inequality and oneness with and as life, energy, and substance, the mind and the physical, from the beginning to now, seen, realized, and understood how I have never, in fact, had a relationship with my parents in the totality of who they are, because each and every moment of interaction with them, from childhood throughout my life, I, in my mind-physical relationship, created and manifested my own characters as experiences, reactions, and behaviors to them that had nothing to do with who they are, but had everything to do with only who I am in my mind-physical relationship as consciousness to construct, manifest, and create characters as experiences and behaviors to and towards my external world and environment and everything and everyone within it. And as I continue within my childhood and my relationship to them throughout my life, I will capture and manifest interactions and moments of participation with them in my physical mind eyes, into the glass window pane, scan through my already manifested characters and personalities in my subconscious mind, and accordingly experience and behave within my physical living as characters as what is best suited in the moment to fulfill my own intentions, wants, needs, and desires. And so, from childhood to throughout my life, I never have a relationship with who my parents are in the totality of themselves in every moment of interaction and participation. And so it is with each human being in my world and reality, because I will always only reference the moment and interaction within physical reality with them, within and as the memories and characters in my mind and beingness that can completely warp and misconstrue the reality of an individual person and parent to serve only my interest and intentions and experiences and behaviors as characters within my mind. I commit myself to show how, with writing, self-forgiveness, and self-corrective application, identifying all the characters and personalities as memories that's come to control and direct our internal and external experiences and behaviors as our entire who we are, in and as our living. To write them out, to forgive ourselves for accepting and allowing ourselves to separate ourselves and the creation of ourselves through an automated system as consciousness, as a separation creation system that's taken from our beingness and physical body, this physical existence to construct and manifest ourselves into pieces and parts as characters existent only within our mind and occasionally live out, embody into and as our physical living. That we've separated ourselves into memories and characters from our beingness, our physical body, and so this physical existence, to construct an illusionary self and reality only existent within our minds, to from here identify the characters, forgive ourselves for separating, and so creating and constructing ourselves into pieces and parts as characters to the compromise and sacrifice of our physical bodies, and so this physical existence. To from here align our living into and as the physical, where we realign who we are in equality and oneness with our beingness, our physical body, and so eventually this physical existence as a whole, where we in fact start living here with the physical and what is real as we become the living word as the physical and no more as controlled separation as memories that only manifest consequence to the physical and all relationships within our actual world and reality. So that in this equal and one actual living of ourselves as here, be able to develop actual, real relationships and agreements as we commune, participate, and interact in equality and oneness in real time here, as every moment of breath, and in fact, get to know each other for who and how we are in the totality of ourselves and each other here. We'll, in the next post, continue with more practical and physical examples of how we never, in fact, have a relationship with our parents and all beings in our world for that matter, because who we are in relationship to them in our mind is and always has been constructed and manifested from memories as us within ourselves. How we even go so far as creating and constructing alternate versions of our parents within our minds to serve only our interest, intentions, and wants, needs, and desires according to how we manifested our who we are in our minds. So, understand what we've walked in this post is simply an introduction framework, and we'll be going into more detailed, practical specifics in posts to come. And within this, continue with preparing for the process of seeing, realizing, and understanding the difference between illusion and reality, as we outline this process of the extent of separation that in fact exists within ourselves and others, within our world and reality, where with us not even having a real relationship with our parents, we don't in fact ever have a real relationship with ourselves.